Hey there, Life Groups. Hope you're well. Welcome to this week's study looking at the book of 1 Thessalonians. We're going to be spending about 6 weeks looking at this book. We've never done it before, so excited for all that it's going to teach us. You may remember that I started the talk by looking at the context of 1 Thessalonians, why the letter was written, and we can actually find the story in Acts 17. So I'll put that up on the screen, and why don't you read together Acts chapter 17, verse 1 to 10. I then explained how Timothy would have met up with Paul and Silas and given them a report as to how the church was going in Thessalonica. And so that's why we get the letter of Thessalonians. It's Paul, Silas, and Timothy now writing to the church they've seen planted in Thessalonica. So let's read together now 1 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 1 to 10. And I'll put that up on the screen for you again. So what I drew out from this passage was that the church in Thessalonica had become a model church. And I drew from this opening few verses about the marks of a model church. What is Paul praising them for in terms of their attitude, their faith, and their behavior? So the first mark was their work and labor, their work produced by faith, their labor prompted by love. There was a quantity and quality of their work. And we looked at how actually this will be an issue Paul comes on to because it may be that some in the church have stopped working. And so he's praising those that are working hard. Then he mentions their endurance, your endurance inspired by hope. We thought about a prisoner and how he can endure kind of his arduous sentence by looking forward to that day when he is released. In the same way, we can look forward to the Lord's return to help us endure through tough things. Then we saw how they were gospel recipients, that they were a community gathered around the centrality of the good news of Jesus. We saw how actually they were going through severe suffering, probably referring to the persecution with Jason and others being brought before the council at the time. But in this severe suffering, we also read that they were given joy by the Holy Spirit. We looked at Samuel Rutherford, who said God often invites us down into the dungeons of despair, the cellars of affliction, but it's there where he serves his best wine. The sixth thing we looked at was that the message was ringing out from them. It was going out, not just staying in their city, but reverberating around the region and beyond. And then finally, we saw that they were a church that were waiting for Jesus to return from heaven. So here are a couple of questions for you in your groups this week. Number one, what of the 7 marks of this model church identified resonates most with you at the moment and why? What of the 7 marks identified resonates most with you at the moment and why? And then question number 2, how should we as a church wait for his son from heaven? That final few words in 1 Thessalonians 1:10. How should we as a church wait for his son from heaven? And you may want to look at the passage I briefly looked at in Luke 12, verse 35 to 38. Thanks very much.